What you're seeing is not from an alien world, though it might appear to be. These intricate glass sculptures are diatoms, microscopic organisms that have shaped our planet for millions of years. Though invisible to the naked eye, they're responsible for every fifth breath you take. Scientists agree that without these tiny organisms, our world would look drastically different. Our oceans would lose their productivity, our atmosphere would change, and humanity itself would suffer. The rich biodiversity we see today would be impossible to sustain. The effects would be catastrophic. To understand their importance, we must look past their beauty and understand their critical role in our global ecosystem. Diatoms are tiny, most of them only the width of a human hair. Here's one on a grain of sand. How can something so small have such a large impact? The answer is numbers, huge numbers. In a single liter of seawater, there can be millions of these microscopic organisms. And diatoms are everywhere. You'll find them in lakes, rivers, ponds. But 90% of the total diatom biomass lives in our oceans, and each one is filled with a tiny bit of chlorophyll. You see, like plants and trees, diatoms are photosynthetic. In fact, they produce between 20 and 40% of all oxygen on our planet. What makes diatoms truly remarkable is their efficiency. They can photosynthesize in conditions where most plants would struggle, operating in low light and cool temperatures. This efficiency is why, despite their microscopic size, they've become one of Earth's most important oxygen producers. But their purpose doesn't end there. Diatoms are also vital engineers of our climate. As they photosynthesize, these microscopic organisms pull carbon dioxide from the water around them and, by extension, from our atmosphere. Then, when diatoms die, something remarkable happens. Their dense glass shells cause them to sink rapidly to the ocean floor, taking the carbon they've captured with them and locking it away for centuries or even millennia. Scientists call this the biological carbon pump, and diatoms are its most efficient operators. In fact, marine diatoms help sequester nearly a quarter of all the carbon dioxide produced on Earth. Without this process, climate change would accelerate dramatically. These tiny organisms have been regulating our planet's carbon cycle for millions of years, long before humans appeared on Earth. What makes diatoms especially effective at carbon sequestration is their unique glass shell. Made of silica, essentially the same material as glass, these shells are heavier than those of many other microorganisms, allowing them to sink faster and transport carbon more efficiently to the deep ocean. It's as if nature designed the perfect carbon capture technology millions of years before we understood its importance. Diatoms also form the foundation of the ocean's food web. These microscopic organisms are like tiny power plants, converting sunlight into food energy that sustains countless species across our seas. The predator-prey relationship begins at the microscopic level. Single-celled organisms like Colpoda hunt and consume diatoms in an invisible underwater ballet. You're witnessing this ancient feeding relationship in action, a microscopic drama that is played out in our waters for millions of years. This energy transfer is just the first step in a complex chain. These microorganisms are consumed by slightly larger creatures, like ostracods, fascinating zooplankton that dart through the water column. Though tiny themselves, zooplankton are voracious consumers of microscopic life, creating a crucial link in the marine food web. These zooplankton then become essential food for small fish like anchovies, sardines, and herring. And those fish, in turn, feed larger commercial species such as tuna, salmon, and cod. In fact, It's estimated that over 3 billion people worldwide rely on seafood as a significant source of protein, a food source that begins with diatoms. Without these microscopic producers at the base of the food chain, marine ecosystems as we know them would collapse. What's remarkable is how efficiently this food chain operates. The unique nutritional composition of diatoms, rich in fatty acids and essential nutrients, makes them exceptionally valuable as a food source, capable of supporting the incredible biodiversity we see in our oceans. With over 100,000 species of diatoms evolving over millions of years, these resilient microorganisms have survived mass extinctions and dramatic climate shifts. Their intricate glass architecture has been perfected through countless generations, adapting to virtually every aquatic environment on Earth, from tropical seas to polar ice edges, from shallow lakes to the deepest ocean trenches. Such remarkable adaptability might suggest that diatoms are invincible. But today, they face challenges unlike any in their evolutionary history. Our rapidly changing planet is testing the limits of even these ancient survivors. Ocean acidification, caused by rising carbon dioxide levels, is making it harder for diatoms to build their silica shells. As our seas warm, the delicate thermal layers that bring nutrients to surface-dwelling diatoms are becoming more permanent barriers. In some regions, diatom populations are already declining, replaced by smaller phytoplankton that don't capture carbon as efficiently or support the same rich food webs. These smaller replacements, cyanobacteria and tiny flagellates barely a fraction of a diatom size, may thrive in warmer, more stratified waters, but they fundamentally alter marine ecosystems built on diatoms over millions of years. If these microscopic glass architects continue to decline, the consequences would extend far beyond the ocean. Our planet would fundamentally change. Remember that every fifth breath you take comes from these tiny organisms. A significant decline in diatoms would mean less oxygen production globally. While we wouldn't immediately notice this change in our atmosphere, marine environments would quickly develop larger dead zones where oxygen levels are too low to support complex life. The carbon that diatoms currently sequester would remain in our atmosphere, accelerating climate change. Scientists estimate that without the biological carbon pump that diatoms drive, atmospheric CO2 levels would be about 50% higher than they are today. But perhaps the most immediate impact would be on our food security. The collapse of marine food webs would devastate fisheries worldwide. Those 3 billion people who rely on seafood would face a protein crisis of unprecedented scale. Coastal communities that have fished the same waters for generations would lose their livelihoods. The ripple effects would touch every aspect of our lives, from the air we breathe, to the food we eat, to the stability of our climate. These tiny organisms, invisible to the naked eye, help maintain the conditions that allow human civilization to flourish. And yet, despite their importance, most people have never heard of diatoms, the real lungs of the earth. They remain hidden heroes, silently supporting life on Earth as they have for millions of years. If you enjoy learning about the microcosmos, consider subscribing so you won't miss our next adventure.